Have you ever felt like your life or business is stagnant? You're kind of feeling stuck and bored and like things are just rolling along fine, but you're wanting so much more? If this resonates, you might be stuck in what I call the curse of the comfort zone. That's what we're going to talk about today on Max Potential Habits. If it's your first time here, I'm Dr. Amanda Barrientez, the host of Max Potential Habits, the founder of NFA Coaching, and the person who brings you tips, tools, and inspirational interviews each and every week to help you optimize your habits so you can thrive in life and business. And when we're stuck in comfort zone, we're not thriving. It means that we are feeling stagnant. We could be feeling stuck, or we could be kind of just rolling along, but you have this underwriting feeling like you want more. You want to be more, you want to do more, you want to have more, you're wishing for greater impact. Maybe it's that you're just realizing like, is this all there is to life? It's really no way to live because we only get this one life in this body, and there's so many cool things to do in the world, and there's so much contribution you can make, and you're a model to the people around you. So if you're riding the wave of comfort zone, sure, it feels good for a little while. You know, if you go back to episode, let's see, it was 147, where we talked about the superhuman burnout cycle. You don't want to be pushing yourself so hard that you're in the superhuman burnout cycle, but you also don't want to be in a place where you're feeling stuck and not making a contribution to the world because you feel like your life is somewhat of a waste, or you just have that sense of like, there's gotta be more than this. And so one of my favorite quotes by Dr. John Demartini is that optimal growth occurs at the border of challenge and support. I'll say it again because it's such a powerful one. Optimal growth occurs at the border of challenge and support. When you're in comfort zone, it's because you're not in an optimal growth state. It's because you're too supported. So if you're too challenged, you're in the superhuman burnout cycle. If you're too supported, you're in comfort zone, kind of just riding the easy wave, even though you know there's something more. You feel stuck, and the curse reason is because it's easy in comfort zone, right? Like, and I'm not talking about easiness where we have joy and flow and ease in our life when we're in alignment and stepping into our zone of genius. I'm talking about when we're kind of in this space where we're not really that fulfilled, but we're riding the wave anyways because it feels so comfortable and safe and easy, in quotes, if you're watching me. Like you don't really have to put in too much effort or that where you're feeling fearful. So this is I'm glad I'm having this talk outward because, you know, we want our life to be easy and flowing. That's a manifestation-based state, but we don't want it to be easy in that we're limiting ourselves from stepping into our fullest power and to our fullest expression and attracting all the things we want. We can only do that when we're in our zone of genius. And our zone of genius is not comfort zone. Zone of genius is a place where you're overcoming your fears, you're facing them, you're courageously moving forward anyway, you're revamping your mindset and your energy to align and flow, and then things come easily to you. It's not that you're not taking action in the direction of your vision, it's that you're taking daily action in the direction of your vision. So comfort zone looks like you having, you know, maybe a job that you kind of like, but you're just riding the wave because you're too afraid to step out and do something different. Maybe it's ask for a promotion, a raise, or it's that you have this great idea to write a book and you don't take the steps to do it because you're too stuck in comfort zone. You're like, you know, I'll get to it next week because my life is pretty simple and flowing. I actually feel bad for people that are stuck in the curse of the comfort zone because I've lived a life where in much of my history, I've been very much in survival mode, which survival mode is on the other end where you feel kind of stuck and frustrated and scared all the time. And that can be a very motivating force. A lot of what I've created in my life and business was based on that survival mode fear where I felt like I had no choice but to work my ass off all the time to make sure I could make ends meet. That's the border of overly challenged that leads to burnout. If you're in that state, you're going to end up with, sometimes people end up with depression, or they end up with a lot of anxiety, they end up burnt out, then they can't take action at all, they start to get sick, their relationships fall apart. We don't want you on that end, but we also don't want you on the over-supported end where you're not growing at all and you're not fulfilling your dreams and your visions because you're stuck in the curse of comfort zone. So when I say I kind of feel sorry for people in that mode, it's like, it's not something I've experienced much in my life because I'm constantly challenging myself. My problem can be where I challenge myself too much and then it can get into a burnout phase. If you're the person who likes a lot of comfort and ease, like you're like, I'll challenge myself next week, and you tend to be more on the procrastinator end, this episode's probably going to resonate with you more. So it's going to be you going like, yeah, I want more. I want to create more in my life, but I'm kind of in that cozy space where I don't have to take action in a direction. And then you're not going to end up needing to change anything unless you decide to. So the reason that I say this is because often when we're needing to go through a growth cycle, the universe will bring us things to help us get there. Whereas when you're in comfort zone, it's like you've got your bills paid for, you've got your life is flowing. You might have a job that you don't love, but it's like cush enough that you can just flow along with it. And so in that state, it's going to have to be your choice that pushes you in a new direction, that pulls you in a new direction, that inspires you in a new direction. And the reason I say this is because the most fulfilling and meaningful life is when you're living in your zone of genius. You can't live in comfort zone and be in your zone of genius. Those two do not match because optimal growth occurs at the border of challenge and support. You want to be in that optimal phase. And this is called eustress. So if you're overly challenged, you're going to be in a state of constant stress where it's too much stress on the distress side. If you're in comfort zone, you're not feeling stressed, but you're not really growing and you're not really getting too far because you're stagnant and stuck. If you're in the eustress state, that's where you have an equal amount of challenge and support. So you're not burning out, you're stepping into your zone of genius, you're being magnetic with your energy and your mindset, and you're able to really have things happen in your life in a balanced, flowing, awesome way. So I like to think of these three things as three zones. So you're either in the frustrated and fucked zone. I know I'll say frustrated and feeling stuck zone. If you don't like the F word, that's okay, I get it. So frustrated zone, then you're in the comfort zone where you feel fine. So it's frustrated, or you're like, I'm fine, but who wants to live just a fine life? Or you're fired up. So you're either frustrated, fine, or fired up. So if you're noticing yourself kind of saying like, I'm fine, things are fine, my relationship's fine, my, growing my wealth is fine, then you need to listen up and do what I'm about to tell you. And this is because you're not going to optimally grow. And I'm not talking about optimal growth where we push and think we always need to be in the crazy doing it all superhuman mode where you end up burnt out. No, I'm talking about balanced flow, getting into your zone of genius. So first, for your action steps today, I really want you to rate yourself. I call this the comfort zone spectrum. So I want you to rate yourself on the comfort zone spectrum. Are you at frustrated, where you feel very victim-minded and everything sucks? You feel imprisoned by your life. You feel like you're stuck in constant survival mode. This would be a 0, right? If you're in the middle, you're in comfort zone, you're at about 5, and you're kind of like, life is fine, things are okay. That's comfort zone. If you're fired up, you're at a 10. You're like, yeah, life is good, things are good. I'm riding the wave of fired up life where things are coming my way and I'm in my zone of genius and I'm every day getting up going like, oh yeah, I'm pinching myself because my life is so freaking good. That's fired up. That'd be a full 10. So first I just want you to rate yourself. Where are you on that spectrum? Frustrated, fine, or fired up? And then if you're in between a 0 and a 4, you've really got to start with mindset shifts. And you're probably not gonna like to hear this, but you have to take a radical responsibility approach. And what you're not gonna like to hear is your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. Many people who are in frustrated mode or zone, it's because they're blaming other people for their reality and they're thinking that everyone else is responsible for where they're at, and you're never gonna get unstuck if that's you. You've gotta be the one that goes, yikes, I'm creating this reality. My outer world is a reflection of my inner world, and I'm tired of being frustrated and stuck, and I've got to start to shift. So you got to start with really mindset, like the foundational levels of mindset shifts and energy shifts, so that you can start to retrain your brain in a new direction to start getting you going into even fine mode, where you can be in comfort zone a little bit so you're not so stressed out all the time. So, you've got to take that radical responsibility approach. I call this the NFA attitude, where you go, okay, I am the creator of my reality. What am I going to do about it now? And I've been there before. I know this zone well. I was stuck in frustration and blaming everyone else for a lot of my life, and it's hard and stressful, and it's like I would get sick, or I would just feel sad a lot. I had times of feeling suicidally depressed. I was real stuck. So I don't want you to beat yourself up if you're there, but if you're there, realize that you do have the power to shift. It's not going to happen overnight. Don't expect that, but you do have the power to shift. And if you're there, reach out to me, DM me, tell me where you're at. Like, I love working with people who are ready. I don't have a magic pill. I can't come rescue you from yourself. You're going to need to rescue yourself. But obviously I have lots of tools to help you, because I've been there and done that. And when you're ready, everything can shift. One paradigm shifting thought can change your entire trajectory. Then you put things into action, and then you start to attract an entirely different life and business, or whatever it is, relationship, money. Like, that is absolutely possible for you, but not if you're blaming other people for your reality. So if you're at a 0 to 4, you got to pick yourself up. No one's going to come rescue you. You've got to pick yourself up and start to shift in a new direction. If you're in zone 5 to 8, which is comfort zone, awesome. I mean, you're not stuck in that survival-based threat all the time where you think everything's going to fall apart, but you're also not living in your zone of genius. So if you're stuck here, similarly, do some mindset shifts, but really start getting into action. Just do one thing a day that shifts you into inspired action. And I'm not saying big, huge steps. I'm saying one little step every day that's inspired in a new direction. So let's say you're in comfort zone and you're working a job, but you really want to have a business working from home that creates a replacement income so you can leave your 9 to 5 and have more flexibility and freedom in your life. Let's say that's you, but you're in comfort zone. Well, you got to start taking actions in the direction of fulfilling your dream every day, just a little thing. So this could be, go back to the book example. Let's say you want to write a book, just start writing 500 words a day. Set your alarm for 30 minutes earlier and write, or 30 minutes. It might not even be 500 words, but let's say you go, I'm going to write for 30 minutes every day, 5 days a week. And I promise you, if you do that every day for a month, you'll look back and you'll go, holy moly, I've written a lot of words in this month. And I'm starting to plant the seed for the future of shifting in a new direction. I'm starting to get my ideas out there. You could do this with anything, building your website, starting to talk to people about, if you're a coach, starting to talk to them about your program that you want to offer. Just start taking action in that direction, and what will happen is it starts to ignite this inspirational fire, and when you're stepping into your zone of genius, you start to feel a lot different than when you're in comfort zone. You start to notice you'll be up at night thinking of ideas, and things will start coming your way, and you're like, oh my God, this is possible, and you start to build that momentum toward being in the fired up zone instead of the just fine zone. Let's say it's in your relationship and you feel like your relationship is just fine. Go back to remembering why you partnered with that person, and start to share stories of gratitude and love for each other, and go on one of the dates that's reminiscent of the ones that you went on when you were, if you're in a 10-year relationship. Remember what it felt like in the beginning when you were on fire and you couldn't wait to see the person and you felt so connected and in love. Go back to doing those things that you did then. Go back to an attitude of gratitude for that person being in your life. Go back to being intimately connected, and remember that it's possible to reignite that, right? So that you can step into that higher version of your relationship. So don't give up, and don't think that you need to take massive actions. Just go, okay, what's one thing I can do each and every day to start stepping in a new direction, which will then build momentum to get into your zone of genius, which is the fired up zone. I want everyone to live in the fired up zone. It's because I know it's possible, and I know how it feels so different from being in survival mode to being what I call in thrival mode, right? You're fired up, you're in thrival mode, you're in your zone of genius. You get up every day and really, like, I have days where I'm like, I just need to pinch myself. Like, is this really my life? Oh yeah. And then I get to step into that manifesting where I don't even feel like I need to have focused energy on manifesting. It just is manifesting all on its own. And that's the fun zone that we all want to be in. So don't forget that I have a workshop coming up just for you that will work through all of these things to set manifestation-based goals for 2021. But even beyond that, you'll learn tricks and tips on how to apply universal principles so that you can be a manifestation master in every area of life and business. So of course we're going to tap into 2021 goals, but it's way bigger than that. And it is, I'm so excited about this workshop. So I'm limiting it to 30 people. I have no idea how many people will be there, but it is limited to 30. So don't not register and then go, crap, kicking yourself thinking like this would have been the workshop for me. I attract really incredible people into my life. And so I know that if you're going to be there, that'll be you. And the outcome that people get is that feeling of like freedom and liberation from feeling stuck. They feel more inspired. They feel more confident. They feel like they actually have control of their life instead of it being an out of control force where they don't understand why they're getting the results they are getting or not getting the results they want. So that's what you get when you work with me, and that's definitely what you'll get at this workshop. It's going to be super fun. So go to NFA Manifestation Workshop to learn more and register. I have a special running through Black Friday, I believe it's November 27th at midnight. So just don't miss out. I want you there, and it'll help you if you're in the curse of the comfort zone. It'll help you step out and step into your zone of genius. And that's all I've got for you this week. I really hope that you take action in a new direction. If you're stuck anywhere other than 10, let's say 9 or 10 in your fired up zone, then take action in a new direction. I promise you it's possible. And don't get stuck in the curse of the comfort zone for long, because this life is short and there's a lot of cool things that you can do, and there's a huge difference that you can make in the world, and I want that for you. So be sure to assess, see where you're at, and then take action in a new direction depending on where you rate yourself, if you're in the frustrated or fine zone, so that you can get into the fired up zone. All right. NFA high fives. I hope you have a max potential week where you thrive and feel alive. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Max Potential Habits podcast. If you're liking what you've heard, it would be so incredibly awesome if you would subscribe to the channel and leave a 5-star rating and a written review. This helps me help more people while we grow our NFA community so we can rock it out together. For Max Potential Habits resources, go to nfacoaching.com, where you can access all of my resources. There's free ebooks, PDF checklists, a journal template, a business mindset meditation kit, and so much more. Plus, links to NFA coaching on Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. And if you're super serious about up-leveling, there's also a link to schedule a free consult to work with me in group or one-on-one coaching. Until next time, I hope you have a Max Potential Habits Day where you get inspired to do whatever it takes to transform into the most empowered version of yourself so you can lead a rich, thriving, kick-ass life and business.